Hey everyone, welcome back to the What Mariel Made podcast. My name's Mariel and I'm a knitter and a maker based in Northern California where I live with my husband and our dog Wally. Welcome back if you're a returning viewer, subscriber, and welcome if it's your first time. I am just a knitter who loves to knit in all of her free time and talk about it here on YouTube and Instagram. You can find me at What Mariel Made on both Instagram and Ravelry. It's the same handle throughout all those platforms. Yeah, that's it. Let's jump into, I have a lot of finished objects this time to talk about. I've done some traveling, got some more yarn, lots of fun things to talk about. So without further ado, let's jump into finished objects. The first finished object that I finished like the same day I posted or filmed with the last episode of the podcast is the Waffle Loop Bandana by Other Loops. I love this thing. I've worn it so much since I finished it and blocked it. I'll go into the stats real quick before I talk more about it. The yarn that I used is a Korean yarn from a Korean yarn store called Needle Story or Panner Story. It's their cream cashmere wool, which is a wool cashmere blend. And it's so good. It's such a good yarn. Next time I go to Korea, I'm definitely going to get more of this. I got 3 cones of it initially. This is what I have left of one of the cones, of my final cone, I think, actually. It's an amazing yarn. It washes up beautifully, softens up. I've worn this scarf a lot, and there's like not any trace of pilling whatsoever. And yeah, I just love it. It's just like so soft, squishy. Definitely want to make a garment for myself in the future with this if I can get my hands on it again. I sized up in my needles because I knew the yarn would kind of puff up. It's like a very round yarn while knitting it as well. So I sized up to a 4.5 millimeter needle, I think. Yeah, and because it was a scarf, I didn't really care about gauge, and if anything, I wanted this to err on being like larger than smaller. And I'm pretty sure I didn't even follow the like number of repeats that the pattern calls for because I just wanted it to be a certain, like at least a certain size. But yeah, that is the first finished object. The way I usually wear it is I will like have the pointed part, the like deepest part of the point. Let me put it on real quick and show you. I'll like start with the deepest point in the middle, like facing me, and then wrap it around and then tie it in a little knot like this. And it's like the perfect little thing to keep me warm. I wear it a lot like at home too. Sometimes with just like a t-shirt if I start getting like a little chilly for whatever reason, like running an errand or, I don't want to like put on a full sweater or I need my arms to be free. This is perfect. Keeps your neck really warm. I'll talk about it a little more later, but I really wanted to finish this for a trip that I had kind of last minute, like tagged along on a trip, like on a work trip with Sam to New York, and it was going to be really cold, and I needed more like warming accessories and woolly things, and because I already had this like ready and like pretty much all almost done, I wanted to make sure to finish it, and I wore this every single day, and it kept me so warm and cozy, and I love it, and it's still keeping me really warm and cozy, and it's such a neutral like color and like good mid-toned gray, I think, for my complexion. Love it so much. Would definitely make this again. Would definitely make it as a gift. Yeah, just love this pattern, this yarn combo. Everything is great. The other thing that I made, like literally cast on like a super big whim, in anticipation for my trip, in the same exact yarn, were the Pioneer gloves, and this is a free pattern, I believe by Kelly McClure, McClear is the designer, but yeah, Boho Knits Ravelry store. Free pattern. I did like a slight mod. I just did like a 2x2 rib, but basically used like the same structure. And all of the details for this are listed on Ravelry, like in terms of like all the modifications I made. I went so far and I was like fussy enough to rearrange the 2x2 rib into 1x1 rib to do like a sewn bind off, but like hindsight, I would have just cast off in pattern, like in the 2x2 rib pattern, and just done it normally that way, because I think that actually would have looked a lot cleaner for a finish. But these were also an amazing thing to have in New York. I was kind of like thinking I might regret not making full on like gloves or mittens. And I just was able to finish this in time because it was in like I cast them on so last minute. But this ended up being perfect because like I made the wrist long enough where if I did need to kind of like make a pseudo mitten for myself or wanted more of my hands covered up, I could just kind of like scrunch it up and it would be warm. But it, for the most part, it was really nice to have my fingers free so I could still use my phone freely. And, you know, these were great. Kept me super warm. And yeah, this pattern, it's now the second time I've made this pattern. I made a pair of these as a Christmas gift knit in a different yarn, and figured this might be a useful pattern in the future, and it definitely was. So love this again. It's kind of like was a cute little set too in New York. So love these finished objects, and they've already gotten so much wear and so much love, and I think they will continue to get even more love and more wear as long as we have some colder weather here. The next finished object is one that I like. It was like my last hyperfixation project, and it's what I'm wearing now. This is the Lakes V-neck pullover by Ozetta. It is my first Ozetta pattern, and I've like always heard good things about Ozetta patterns. I had a few in my library that I just like had never made before, but I was really craving a V-neck pullover sweater. This is one of the yarns I got in New York, and as soon as I got back, I pretty much like cast on the sweater, and I made it, I think I made this sweater in like definitely less than 2 weeks. I think like a week and a half maybe. I was that focused and dedicated to it. So some of the stats, these for the sweater, I like made it directly to pattern. I didn't really modify anything other than cropping the body ever so slightly. And then in terms of like the order in which I do everything, typically once I like join the body in the round for pullover sweaters, I always do the neckline and the sleeves first, because odds are I'm playing like a slight game of yarn chicken at least. So I kind of prioritize the neckline and the sleeves, make those to exactly how I want them to be, and then just kind of, you know, cross my fingers for the rest of the body. For this sweater, everything was perfect. I even had like a little extra yarn left over. So that was great. I made size M, the medium size. I wanted a good amount of positive ease just for like the look I was going for, you know, that like Baba vibe. And the yarn is like my second most favorite thing. I think this is like in the runner up for like favorite yarns I've used all year already. And it's only like March, but this is yarn I got in New York again. I got this yarn, I think on my birthday or like for my birthday. This is Jill Draper Makes Yarn, or Jill Draper Makes Stuff. I don't know what the like formal name of the brand is, but this is like a New York grown, produced, milled, everything yarn. This is the Kingston base in the color Wiltwick, I think is what it's called. And it's just this gorgeous, like, it's this like gorgeous woolly wool. It's like actually very soft. It's 100% Targhee, I believe. And it's just like the perfect tweedy tone of gray. I still have a little bit left. I got 4 skeins total. I actually have a good amount of this left. Like I could probably make a pair of mittens, Pioneer gloves with this. But yeah, I got 4 skeins. Each skein was around like 112 to 119 grams. The total weight of the sweater was about 420 grams. And that includes like the yarn that I used before weaving in and like trimming off the ends. But yeah, this yarn, it smells so good to me too. It's not like a sheepy smell. I don't know what smell this is. Maybe it's like the wool wash smell, but I love this yarn so much. I want more of it immediately. I want to make more stuff in it immediately if I can find it. But yeah, if I treat myself in the future, just it's a beautiful American-made yarn. So if you find yourself, if you have access to this and you're down to like treat yourself, highly recommend it. It's so good. And like, it's warm because it's wool, but I don't know how to explain it. Like, the final blocked fabric of it, it's like very soft to me. And I don't know if like my love for wool has just like grown my tolerance for it, but I swear like this, it almost feels like there's like, it's like a wool cotton blend to me. I don't know. I don't know that much about Targi either, so maybe that, I don't know. Maybe there's some quality to the like sheep breed in general, but I love this so much. So that is this finished object. I really don't ever want to take this off, but it's just so good. It's so good. Hey, I realize there's other things I want to say about this sweater. It is a new day. I'm still wearing the same sweater. I literally am wearing it every day. The construction, things I would do differently or be more conscious of next time, since it is a saddle shoulder construction. I fixed it once I picked up for the front. When I was picking up for the back, I don't know if you can see. I think I've closed it up. I don't know, you can kind of see. I kind of picked up too close to the edge of the saddle that you knit first, and it left a few holes when I was picking up for the back. So that's something I would be more cognizant of if I make this again, which I probably will. But again, like for most of the holes, I just missed this one. When I was weaving in ends, I kind of used the ends around the shoulder to kind of close up all the holes. So that's something I wanted to mention. This v-neck, this is like the second v-neck item that I've done, and this is a folded, double folded v-neck. So it's very nice and like thick, but still lays pretty flat and nicely post block. And it definitely does take like a little more brain power than, not that much more brain power, but it does take more time than a normal like regular round crew neck sweater, but it's still not hard at all. Like, you get the hang of it. It just kind of, you know, it's just a little different from a round collar. And then finally, something that I've started doing specifically just in general, like with my sweaters, is, you know how usually you'll like go down a needle size before doing the ribbing. One thing I do, which I feel like you can kind of tell here, I like keeping the like transition pretty crisp between the stockinette and the ribbing. And so what I do is once I'm ready to start the ribbing for the cuff, either on the body or on the sleeves, I'll just show you the sleeve right now, I always do one round of the final round of stockinette in that new smaller needle size, because I feel like you don't get any of that weird gaping or like inconsistent stitch look between the stockinette as it moves into ribbing. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've been doing that lately, and I like how clean it makes that line. Maybe you can't tell as much on the body, but I feel like on the sleeves, I was like walking around this morning and I was looking at it and I was like, wow, it's like a really crisp, it's a crisp transition. So that is cool. I think those are all the things that I wanted to say about the sweater. Make it. It's a good one. I want more. Make sure I don't have anything else to say about it. I'll put in a cutaway of like what it looks like on, but yeah, I just love it so much, and it blocked beautifully, and yeah, it was great. Okay, my next pair of socks is a finished object. I will put in a cutaway of what these look like because I actually don't have them with me. These are just the pair of vanilla socks that I had. I'd been working on kind of in the background. I don't have a pair of socks going right now, but I have ideas. I just have yet to like decide what I want to do. My next finished object that I do have with me, I have two more. They're both very exciting. This one is one you've seen before, but I finally finished Sam's Northland Sweater by Petite Knit. I had finished this and talked about it in my last episode, but it needed length added to it, and I needed to loosen the neckline a bit because it was a bit tight to get over Sam's head. So I did all of those things. I have yet to block it, so it is still a little bit like wiggly in the places where I added like fresh yarn right off the cone, and I used that same cone yarn that I talked about earlier. Again, gorgeous, super soft, which is why I used it for this sweater as well, because Sam is sensitive to like scratchier, woollier yarns. So the cashmere in this really helps to soften it up. And this is the first time for the sleeves specifically. I don't know if you can tell. Maybe you can tell. It's a little, there's some things that I'm hoping just like soften up with blocking, but I did sweater surgery to add length to the sleeves for the first time, and it really wasn't that bad. Huge shout out to Anna from APT Atelier here on YouTube, who has like a tutorial on how to do this. I followed her tutorial. In that tutorial, I think she's actually removing length from a sleeve, but she kind of explains how to do it in the opposite, for the opposite reason if you needed to add length, because it's very similar. Yeah, this was great, and I think it'll block out perfectly fine. I added to both the sleeves and the body, I added a total of like 2.5 inches, 2.5 to 3 inches. And then the neckline, I also like kind of just loosened it up a bit. Basically just did the sewn bind off really loosely. And yeah, I will be sure to report back with like a finished image of how this looks on Sam, but yeah, I'm so glad to finally have this done. I had like scheduled a call with one of my friends, and I told her like, you need to keep me accountable to work on this and like finish it, because yeah, we're running out of colder weather days here in the Bay Area, and I want to make sure he can wear this for like at least one of them. So that is the Northland Sweater by Petite Knit. I made size medium, and made it pretty much to pattern, aside from the cropping that I did initially, which in hindsight, I should have just followed the pattern like to a T and it would have been perfect. So hindsight 2020, right? Okay. Final finished object is something that I also like cast on and finished rather quickly because it's small. It's a small finished object, and I've kind of been on the hook to get this done for a few months now, but a bunch of my friends have been having little baby girls, and I need to be better about like not committing to gift knits, at least like not like promising them too much in advance, because I kind of have to be struck by inspiration to actually get them done. So this sweater is for one of my friend's daughters, and this is it. I'll just show you first. Isn't it darling? It's so cute. So the design of this sweater the inspiration behind this sweater is highly, highly inspired, and the idea came from the Daisy sweater by Knitting for Olives, the designer Pernille Larson, I think. Yeah. But I mean, the concept of this sweater isn't too crazy. I've definitely seen it like kind of just on the interwebs. The concept of like just a normal like sweater of some kind with some embroidery, some like flower embroidery. So I already had like a tiny little baby like small children's pattern for a raglan sweater. And it is a free pattern called the Old Raglan. And I just decided to make that as the base and just add on some lazy daisy embroidery with some sock yarn scraps that I had in my stash already. And yeah, it turned out super cute. I ended up doing flowers only on the pretty much on the front side of the sweater because I don't know. I'm thinking like if you're a baby, you're probably napping a good amount on your back, and I didn't want there to be like extra bumps and lumps in the back as much as possible. So, yeah, I figured flowers on the front for the most part would be fine. The yarn I used I already had in stash as well. I got it from a D stash. It is the Socken sock base from the brand. The brand is Kramer Yarns, and it's their Socken sock base. Each of those is 100-gram skein. Like it comes in 100-gram skeins. I use 2 skeins total with a bunch left over, and I held the yarns together because they're both about a fingering weight since it's a sock yarn, and so I got about a DK weight gauge here. I ended up sizing up as well because I'm just always afraid of making baby clothes that are too small or that can like only fit for like a week and then your baby's too big. So I made the 6 to 9 month size and made the sleeves a little longer too than the pattern recommends. Just I don't know, in the hopes that my friend can get a little more wear out of this for her daughter. But yeah, I enjoyed working with this yarn. Surprisingly, it's like a cotton acrylic nylon blend, but I figured it would be perfect for, you know, machine washing, especially baby clothes or baby accidents, things like that. And this friend specifically is based in a climate that's like a bit warmer. So I didn't want to use like super wash wool or anything. I wanted to keep it kind of light and more cottony. So that is this little daisy baby sweater. It's so cute. It's already like blocked and everything. I did block the sweater before adding the embroidery on just because I figured it would help kind of everything lay nicer. So I'm considering adding a tag or something to it before I send it off, but I will probably mail it away very soon and hopefully surprise my friend who's been like kind of expecting a sweater or like a garment for a while. So yes, that is the final finished object. I'm so pleased with how it turned out. It's so cute. Oh, I should also mention that for this pattern, for the flower embroidery specifically, I followed the 2 of Wands tutorial for lazy daisies. Super easy to follow. Yeah, super helpful and a free resource. Okay, works in progress. Let's get to works in progress. I'm very proud of myself because I've actually gotten a lot of my like more active whips done, and they like already showed you kind of the finished objects that I was able to finish like this last week. The only other like active whips that I have going right now are these 2, again, gift knits for one of my friend's daughters. When I went to New York, I found this yarn with my friend and her daughter, one of her daughters who picked this out because it's like the cutest, sparkliest, pinkiest, like feminine girly yarn. Super fun. It was a sock yarn, and I wanted to make them something with it, so we got the yarn. And I ended up, and because that's 2 sisters, I wanted to make them matching something. And because I only had 1 skein of sock yarn, I decided to hold it double with another like similarly shaded pink sock yarn. And I ended up modifying a pattern that already had the Alex hood to make 2 scarves out of it. And so this is what I have so far. They're like literally identical. I have yet to block them, but they're just going to be really cute scarves, like neck scarves. But the plan is to finish these. Of course, I'll block them, but I'm going to make little pink pom-poms to put on the ends of them. So once they wrap them around their necks, the little pom-poms will be like hanging off. I just think it'll be really fun and really cute. And I mean, as long as they're into these colors, hopefully they can kind of wear them, continue to wear them as they get a little older. Yeah, so that's kind of next on my to-do list, to really get these done and sent over to that friend. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how these turned out. And the pattern itself was really nice too, like fairly easy to modify and pretty fun to just like do and bring on the train with me on my commutes and stuff. So that is the only like active like whips that I have going right now. Okay. I think that's it for like active whips. I do have some plans and things like kind of percolating in my brain in terms of things I want to cast on soon, because I have like some other small things going, but honestly, I'm not really feeling them, and I might just rip them out and frog them and use the yarn for something else. But one thing that has been on my mind a little bit more, especially as like spring quickly approaches, especially where I am, like the like colder weather sweater days really are numbered for where I live, which makes me sad, but it's okay. It's a knitter's dilemma, right? The sun comes out, it's really beautiful outside, but you just can't wear as much of your like woolly wools. So I've been thinking a lot about like, what can I still make that's maybe a little more spring appropriate, or I don't know, just what can be something that I can make that I can actually wear once I finish it for a little bit, that isn't like full on summer makes. And so where I've kind of landed is I think I want to cast on a couple like knit t-shirts or like short sleeve sweaters. I already have the lion sweater by Petite Knit, which I think would be really easily modded, and I've seen people modify it to just like create like a short sleeve sweater, or like, yeah, like a kind of a short sleeve sweater blouse. And so I think I might do that. I might do that with the pink yarn that I initially cast on the Jenna sweater for, because I had to frog that. And I might end up just making like a t-shirt out of that, like a t-shirt sweater, and then using leftover yarn to make like accessories, like a hat or a scarf or something like that. Because I just like the color, and I want it in smaller doses instead of like maybe one larger sweater. So that's something I've been thinking about. I also have I just have like bits of yarn where I know it won't be enough to make like a full sweater, but maybe a sweater t-shirt would work. So yeah, we'll see. Definitely can always make socks, but yeah, I love making garments right now. So just thinking about that. I had a lot of fun making that little baby sweater, so I don't know, might make some more just in general to have or to have ready to gift to a few friends that I have in mind, but I'm not going to commit to anything just yet. And I think that's it in terms of active whips and plans. I'm sure I'll have some more things to talk about next time we talk, but that's all I have in my brain. The final thing that I did want to talk about is, as it pertains to knitting, is acquisitions. And one more plug for the knit along that I'm hosting. So, if you didn't know, I'm hosting a knit along with two of my knitter friends, Erica and Sophia. They both have YouTube channels, but we're hosting the knit along on Instagram. It is the Cozy Textures Cal, the Cozy Textures knit along. All you need to do is follow us all on Instagram, cast on a project with a cozy texture, which can literally be like most anything. It just needs to be more than like stockinette and like basic ribbed finishes. Like anything counts pretty much. We're pretty casual and flexible on that. And there will be 3 winners with 3 prizes as long as you use the hashtag follow us all by March 31st. So by the end of this month, just make sure you post. We will choose 3 winners. We already have some fun things planned as prizes, got some notions ready. I'm kind of waiting to see where the winners are based, just to maybe be able to like support a more local, like small business or something based on where the winner is located, because it is open worldwide technically. So be sure to give us a follow, meet the requirements if you want to participate. My waffle loop scarf was definitely like probably my most successful texture in terms of like a knit that I really love that came out of this knit along. So yeah, join us for that knit along. The acquisitions that I have to show are very exciting. Let me talk through, actually, to kind of touch back on the New York trip that I did earlier this month or end of last month. Can't remember. Went to New York and I did go to a few yarn shops. I did my own like mini yarn shop crawl, which was really fun. I took off like a day from work and pretty much like just dedicated. I think that day I went to 2 different stores, or I went to a few of the stores kind of throughout my week in New York. But on one of the days I was able to go to Knitty City up in the Upper West Side, which is really cute. And there I got these 2 yarns. I got Shelter from Brooklyn Tweed in the color Yellowstone, and let's see, what is this one? Yellowstone and Postcard. I've been wanting to try Shelter for a while now. And when I saw these in store, I was like head over heels. And the plan is to knit these together. I'm thinking doing maybe a pressed flowers kerchief or some sort of like mosaic color work something. So each of these is 50 grams. Maybe do a hat. I don't know. But yeah, just they had so many colors of Shelter at Knitty City, and I think I spent like 45 minutes just like looking at everything in there. So those are 2 of the yarns I got there. Also from Knitty City, I got a skein of this. This is, I lost the label because it was kind of coming off, but this is like the Koigu yarn brand. I think it's 100% superwash merino, and it's technically a sock yarn. It's not a full 50 gram skein, I don't think, or maybe it is. Definitely a smaller skein, but I just really like the colors in it, and I'm hoping to use it in some socks at some point. Probably paired with like a brown, or I'll pull out some of the colors in here. And yeah, do something fun with this. So stay tuned for that. And then I also went to Cleo's Craft Cafe in Brooklyn, which was really fun. That's where my friend and her daughters found this like really fun yarn. And I also got two like tiny little yarns. This is from Kelborn Woolens, the Perennial. It's 60% superwash merino, 25% alpaca, 15% nylon. These are only 10 grams each, but I just fell in love with this like bright orangey red color. This is vermilion. So nice. So yeah, just fell in love with that. Definitely want to use it as like an accent in socks or some sort of accessory, some small accessory. Even a scarf would be cute. I just really like this color in general. So that's the other thing I got. And then I'm trying to think what else. Of course, this Kingston yarn. The final shop that I went to was Downtown Yarns in the Lower East Side, which is where I just splurged on the Kingston yarn. And that's all I got from there. It was gorgeous, gorgeous. So nice. I also, so in addition to the waffle loop, the like gray scarf, and then my hand knit Pioneer gloves, I also took along my my pressed flowers bandana that I made earlier, and I kind of used it as like a I just like tied it around my head to really cover my ears because it was quite like frigid and chilly in New York when we went. And I swear, like every time I went into a yarn store, it was like the if you know, you know. It was like my sign to the yarn store employees that like I knit and I love to knit and we all know what this pattern is or we've like seen this pattern. So it was like kind of a nice like flag to wave when I entered a yarn store. So yeah, that was fun. But that was also a great thing that I'm so glad I brought because it kept me warm. I wore like all my woolly things in New York. So that was really nice. Okay. So that was the New York kind of shopping experience. I got like a few little notions and stuff here and there, but that's it for the yarn. The other acquisition, which is really exciting, is like 2-3 weeks ago now, I went to like a local knitting event held by Knitter Dinner Club on Instagram. Kalina is the mastermind behind that, and I've been able to meet so many local to me knitters, which has been really fun. So that's been like a whole nother side of like knitting community that has really been like growing this year. But at that event, it was basically like a farm to table, like dinner, knitting, spinning day. But they had some yarn available to purchase that's from the sheep there. The actual farm and like, I guess like the estate itself is called Hidden Villa. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, like woolly, sheepy yarn. I think they technically classify this as a worsted weight. It is a lofty three-ply yarn, 100% wool, a blend of horned Dorset and California variegated mutant wool. Worsted weight, non-superwash, about 200 yards. And I weighed one of these skeins and I caked it up. This is it all caked up, and this cake alone weighs 160 grams, and I got 4 of these. So I definitely have enough for a sweater, and I just don't know what I want to make with it yet. And it does seem like a heavy worsted, probably more Aran weight, especially once it's blocked. But yeah, I just don't know if I want to cast on something with it now or wait. Honestly, I might just cast something on with it now. Definitely want to do like some sort of jacket cardigan with this because I think it would just be really great as a more outerwear piece. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can get one more woolly knit out and wear it while it's still kind of chilly. Yeah, we'll see. I've been thinking about the Korshavn or the Korsavin cardigan by Strikakafa, or maybe a cabled project, like maybe reignite the cabling flame for the Dagmar jacket. Mentally, I just don't feel ready. Still don't feel ready for it. So we'll see. But this yarn is so good. It's so good. So that is the only other acquisition. So grateful to have all this stuff, have all the access to it. And that's it for all the nitty yarny talk. I did have some media favorites that I wanted to call out. A couple things everything on Netflix. Yeah. The first show that I watched mostly while I was knitting this sweater is Offline Love on Netflix. It is a Japanese reality show where 10 strangers relinquish their mobile, like digital devices for 10 days, I think, in Nice. They're Japanese like tourists in Nice, France. It is a Japanese reality show though, so like all the commentary and everything's in Japanese, so you'll have to either listen to it dubbed, but I like just reading the subtitles. So yeah, there's like a commentary panel that will comment on what's happening. It definitely kind of fills the void if you really liked watching Terrace House back in the day. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I do recommend Offline Love if you've kind of liked that side of media. So Offline Love on Netflix. Also on Netflix, I just started Alone one of the Australian seasons. Maybe there's 2 seasons. I just started the one that was like the default one on Netflix. So yeah, I like Alone in general. I liked watching some of the US seasons, so we'll see how the Australia season goes. And it's just like a survival, see who survives the longest type show if you're not familiar with it. And then finally, a show on Netflix it's kind of had like pop culture controversy because this person is like hit or miss for a lot of people. But I actually really enjoyed watching Megan Sussex, aka Meghan Markle, her show With Love from Megan, or With Love Megan. Her show, I thought it was nice. It's kind of like a nice, I do like understand the complaints or like why people would make fun of it, but like overall I thought it was kind of a nice watch, and like it's kind of nice escapism into this like, you know, for me, a fantasy world of like being a wealthy person living in Montecito, California. So I don't know, I thought it was relaxing to watch, at least in the background while I was knitting something. So yeah, that's that. And that's it for media favorites. I definitely want to keep posting more frequently, and in a more casual manner. So I'm playing with the idea of doing like a kind of like a Whip Wednesday type chat where I'm just kind of talking through making ideas or things that I'm kind of interested in doing, but doing it in a much more casual fashion, so that it requires like both less editing time for me, but also so I can kind of capture what I'm thinking of or what's inspiring me in the moment, because it's kind of hard to do that, or include all of that in these podcasts in like the traditional podcast format. So let me know if you're interested in that. But yeah, I just want to be able to post more often, interact with y'all a little more often. But if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm definitely most active there, at least day to day. So again, be sure to follow me there. And that's it. I hope you're having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. I will check in with you again soon. And yeah, happy knitting. Let me know what you're making in the comments, as always. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.